Hi, this is Rryla McIntosh, and you're watching Two Mics Up.
Double O 07.
What's happening, everybody? It's another Monday. You know what that means. It's Two Mics Up, back with an all new conversation. And we really bridging talent tonight. When I say bridging, I should say, let me get my English correct. We are actually going across to our partners up north to Canada. And today's amazing talent is a blend of cultures, style, finesse, confidence, depth, role preparation, flexibility, you name it, we're going deep today. And what makes it even a little bit more fun, the smile and the energy from today's guest that's joining me on the other mic. It's just remarkable. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for today's guest, the incomparable Rryla McIntosh. Rryla, how are you today?
Hi, good. Well, I'm blushing now. That introduction was so sweet. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
well, I thank you, for that. And it's not only just an introduction, but it's really real. These are the things that, off the top of the head, as I think of you and looking at your body of work, it's really a deep depth of talent that you really provide in the work that you provided. But before we even get to that, Ryla, I always have to start at the beginning because you have a fantastic culture and beginnings and roots that are really really deep and resonate with me and my household. So let's start at the beginning. You know, who is Rryla, and talk about where she's from and that multicultural background that she has.
Yeah, my name is Rryla McIntosh. I grew up in Vancouver, Canada, and I grew up with my Canadian heritage. And then I didn't grow up so much with my Costa Rican heritage, but later in life, I went down there and connected with my family, and it was one of the most incredible trips of my life. And so I'm so grateful to have that in um, my life now, my little siblings and grandma and everyone down there. And I need to get back ASAP. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, grateful to have both those sides.
It makes me want to, ask too, like, after experiencing and really diving into your cultural background, like, how has that, maybe now as you've gotten older, helped to influence maybe your perspective, not only as an actor, but just in how you tell stories, through your character choices?
Totally. Well, I think as in like any form of art, the more full and rich your life is with experiences and
Mm.
culture and forms of diversity, it really adds to yourself as a human and therefore adds to your art and comes through in ways that we probably aren't even aware of. And so I'm very grateful for, to have that influence in my art.
That is a beautiful thing, but we take a step back, for a moment. At least I would like to, and really look at Rryla McIntosh. Like we've seen you in Disney under Wraps 2. I think it was Paramount's The Painter, Apple TV, Schmigadoon, and so much more. But when it comes to depth and preparation, specifically like in Under Wraps 2, you played, I believe it was Rose, was the character's name, and she was like a mummy's eternal love interest, without really giving too much. And that had to be, like, saying it is odd, right? Like that's just,
Yeah.
but what was it like? Like, what was your approach?
Yeah.
Like kind of bringing this supernatural element to the stage or to the screen, if you will, with this genuine emotional type connection in this story.
Yeah, I think like with blending both worlds of the supernatural, at the core of her, I just had to find the human and
Mm,
what she loves and what she wants and lead with that. And her love for Harold and life is what I led with. She was very curious and very playful. And so, yeah, just leading with what intrigued her and what her why was. Why is she
mm,
doing everything that she's doing?
mm,
And through that, we found a lot of playful moments, but also a lot of real, genuine emotion because
mm.
she is still a person, no matter how supernatural she and her love
True.
interest are.
And watching you speak on that though, was there certain aspects that were really Ryla, from your real life experiences that as you read through that script and prepared for the role that you really yourself was like, I can relate to that. I can really uh touch on that, and really is that what some of the things that helped you continue to, because the role was so real. You know, and did you use those aspects of Ryla to really bring that to life?
Yeah,
Mm,
absolutely. Like I myself am a curious person and
mm,
I love new experiences. Like I think that's where I thrive. And so Rose, she came back to life, and so this modern day world was all very new to her, and she was just so curious about everything, and I really tapped into my inner child with her, which was so fun to do. But she's also, as much as she is playful, she can also be very defensive of the ones that she loves, and she would
mm.
do anything for anyone she cares about, and I definitely related to that on a personal level as well.
That really came through, and I'm sitting here, I'm listening, and I'm watching, and in my mind, I'm thinking, that was one type of genre that you played in, but the others that I mentioned, uh, you know, uh, the painter was like a thriller, if you will,
Mhm.
and Schmigadoon was more like this musical, was a satire type role, and you really have to be flexible to adapt and switch. So, like, what are some of your styles, or what are some of the practices that maybe you can share that you maybe go through when you're switching through, these different styles of acting, if you will, as you prepare? Because I mean, I know it's a little piece of Ryla and everything, but each one has to be a little bit different in its preparation, I would think. And again, I don't know, but as fans, we're asking because we want to know what Ryla does, in preparing for these different type of genres.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like you said, within every character, there is a little bit of Rryla, but sometimes the characters are more removed from who I am as a person, and so then you have to put in a little more work and use a different technique. But I think at the core of every character, I keep saying the core, I'm going to say it 1,000 more times probably. Um, but it's true. It's so important. At the core of every character, you just want to find the truth and tell
Mm,
the truth of that character and tell the truth of that scene.
mhm,
And yeah, like I would say, like a good example is comedy.
mhm.
Like in Schmigadoon, you don't want to hit the joke. Like your character doesn't know that she's being funny. She's just telling her truth. And
Right.
that's what comes off as funny. And so, yeah, just the biggest takeaway I'd say, just tell the truth.
Mm. It's amazing when I hear you say, tell the truth. Like, did you in your growth, have you gone to any type of school of the arts, or any type of acting classes that really help maybe help you identify maybe some areas that early on that you thought that you were weak in, or you needed help in building your brand? And if so, what was that experience like, for you, kind of going through that journey?
Yes, honestly, I'm so happy that you asked this question because as I was like talking about truth and comedy, I'm like, oh my goodness, I sound exactly like my acting coach, Stephanowski. And huge shout out to her. I came into her class as like this nervous little quiet girl who couldn't cry, and now I feel like I can tackle any genre and any scene, and I'm excited to do so. And so she has definitely had a huge influence on my acting
I
abilities and
love
my
that.
acting career. So I'm very
I,
grateful for that.
I love that. And would you say that that's something that is important to, if there are any um, people watching or listening to this at this time that are interested, maybe getting into the entertainment field, would you, suggest that that's something that they really uh, hone in on and dive into and submerge themselves in to really help make, hopefully get them, to the next level and get through some doors like you did?
Totally, I think so. And whether that's like, there's so many different routes you can take, whether it's a classroom setting or, actually getting into theater or just like learning through life.
Hmm.
Find what works for you, but I do recommend a class because I would say that acting is a muscle, and that, like a professional basketball player, sports player, you're continuously training because you never know when this skill is going to be needed. And so
Right.
I think training in whatever form is very helpful to my
Yeah.
career, and so hopefully to others as well.
I love that. Yeah, I just wanted to ask that because I think it's important. Sometimes, some people are maybe a little bit more gifted than others, and sometimes doors open up maybe faster for some than others. But like you said, this is a craft. It's like any other career, any other job, athlete, doctor, whoever. You really want to work to really hone your skills and your skill set, so you have more tools in your toolbox. Is what I've heard it referred to as, so that you can continue to elevate. And one of the ways that we've seen you elevate um, was kind of like as a supporting role. And I know sometimes I guess that could be a challenge, but in this role though, and I'm talking about Elena, I'm sorry, in The Painter.
Yeah.
Your character had to kind of balance this this strength and vulnerability, if you will, at the same time. Like, we're talking about research and things like that, and we've already identified Rryla, but like that's a real layered performance when I sit back and I watch that. Like, how was it like for you on set? Going through the script, like what was it like? And is there anything that stands out to you in your mind from being on set shooting that piece?
Yeah, thank you, first of all, for the kind words. It's so sweet of you for anyone to ever call a performance layered is so kind. Um, yeah, with Elena, it was definitely that's probably the most dramatic
Mm,
character I've done yet, and I loved it. Of course, as an actor, you're just ready to dive in, and so my sort of techniques, I guess, were to find out where we were similar and find out where we were different. And I think in the parts where we're different and maybe I can't quite relate to what she's going through,
mhm.
my biggest thing was just to empathize with her. And
Okay.
I'm lucky well, in the acting scenario, to be a very empathetic person. And so empathizing with her and what she's gone through, and that really just got me to the place where I needed to be in those scenes. Um, yeah, and then of course using emotions, I think that's a great technique too. Is when you go through your everyday life, pay attention to how you are feeling,
Mm,
whether it's a incredibly emotional moment or just a mundane moment, whether
mm.
where you're
Very
feeling in your
interesting.
body, where you're feeling in your head, what are your hands doing? Because that I find is really helpful for when I do have to tackle a scene that is emotional or mundane. I know how that feels in my body.
Just listening and walking you through that. I mean, I could feel that. Um, and these are uh everyday senses, I guess, if you will, or reactions, or things that we all feel. And just in my mind, as you were talking about, like it's like, that makes a lot of sense, and it's very on a simplistic level, if you will. And I really appreciate you saying that, because like I said, so if you guys haven't seen it, the painter, go check it out. I think it was a great piece, and like I said, I will not laying it on heavy, but I thought it was a very layered role, and very deep and complex, and you really brought it to life, and you really stood out in our opinion.
Thank you.
So we thank you. We thank you for that. But I want to take a short pause for the cause, ladies and gentlemen, because uh, I want to thank our sponsors here at Two Mics Up. Without them, we would not be able to sit here and have this in-depth conversation with the amazingly talented Rryla McIntosh. So look, don't go anywhere. Stay right here. We'll be right back after this short pause on the other side.
94 Media House specializes in transformative digital design that elevates your brand to new heights. Whether you need stunning graphic design, impactful branding, or a captivating web presence, our team is here to bring your vision to life. Join the ranks of successful businesses that trust 94 Media House for their digital design needs. Let's make your brand unforgettable. Contact us today.
Experience unforgettable memories with Riddick Entertainment and Events, the premier event planners in Northern Virginia. We specialize in crafting extraordinary weddings and events tailored to your vision. Led by the husband and wife team of Saeed and Michelle Riddick, we ensure your special day is stress-free and memorable. Don't leave your memories to chance. Let Riddick Entertainment help you create lasting moments. Contact us today to start planning your unforgettable event.
Unleash flavor with Tico Rico hot sauce, made from fresh, homegrown peppers for a vibrant taste. Enjoy the perfect blend of heat and zest with our habanero and refreshing Serrano lime sauces. Ideal for tacos, seafood, or salads, Tico Rico enhances any dish. Join the Tico Rico family today and elevate your meals with our award-winning sauces. Visit us online to grab your starter kit and discover the magic of Tico Rico.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we fresh out the break with the incredibly talented Rryla McIntosh, and we've been really digging in and diving into her body of work, who she is. But we're going to continue that conversation because, Rryla, we've had the pleasure of seeing you in Schmigadoon, and now this one had to be difficult because it's almost like it's like this classic parody type show, and you do a lot of musical. It's like musical variety or tropes, if you will, and that's kind of like improv, I would think. But talk about like how what is the most unexpected part? Because there has to be parts, I would think, doing this kind of live where you have so many unexpected things happen that are supposed to be kind of choreographed at the same time. I'm guessing because I've never done it, but just kind of looking at it, and how does that compare to like traditional acting for you? Like, do you prefer one over the other? Is it a little more shock value for one versus the other? Like, how do you view it, Ryla?
Um, well, my scene was actually a little bit more choreographed, I think, than some of the other scenes in Schmigadoon. But one thing that I didn't expect coming into set was, so I was sewn into this wedding dress, and this was like one of the first things I had ever did. I was on set with Cecily Strong and Keegan Michael Key, and I was like, oh my goodness, don't mess this up. And I had to give this speech,
Right.
and like the whole scene is basically just on me. And so they start and they're like, we're going to do this like crane thing. And I had to like squat under this crane while delivering my speech while they pulled out, while I slowly rose up, but I couldn't look at the crane because I had to be looking forward. And there was just like a lot of moving pieces. And, and so that was definitely unexpected, but fun to do. And yeah, working with two legends like that was a
Awesome.
dream. And I would love to do another musical and be more involved in the musical
Oh,
aspect of
I
um
love that.
that. But yeah, yeah.
I love that. Were there any pieces or gems maybe given to you, by the stars or the cast that really maybe stuck with you or really helped motivate and encourage you to kind of keep doing what you're doing?
Um, I didn't get to talk to them a ton, actually. Uh, Keegan Michael Key was just like kind of in the background of the scene,
Mm-hmm.
and so he was just there for like a very short amount of time, like maybe an hour or two, which is
Right.
unheard of on set. And so then they like broke him for lunch or whatever, let him go home. And I was like, oh, shoot, I didn't get to speak to him. And then he's walking off set and he literally like stops, turns around, comes to me and is like, hey, really great job. And I was like,
Wow.
thank you, you
Wow.
too.
Look at
And
that.
yeah, and so I was like, okay, I can do this because I was definitely nervous that day. And I was like, what am I doing? I don't know how to act. But like imposter syndrome almost. And so him saying that really meant a lot. And
Hmm.
I think like that was just a great learning moment as to like no matter like how big you are, like just
That's right.
always be compassionate and
Yeah,
kind to people because you never know how far that's going to go. And
that part.
so yeah, just his actions is what I took away from it. And Cecily was so sweet too, of
I
course.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the type of things that we like because those are things that we as fans we don't get to see, and a lot of times I think that gets overlooked. Like you said, this, some people at their level to still have the humility to still recognize others that may not be on their level but are still giving the same effort and shining. That's huge. So kudos to them and kudos to you for being you're a standout so in that moment, so that's huge. And looking at your career, Ryla, from all the different projects, genres, formats, is there any type of project or role right now that you would really like to sink your teeth in and tackle next?
I mean, there's so many. But I would love to be an antagonist, a
Mm,
villain,
okay.
someone who I don't share like morals with, someone that I
Mm,
really have to dive deep into in order for me to empathize with and
mm,
make their actions make sense to me. I think would be a really interesting and challenging role. I
I
think that
like
would be
that.
incredible. Yeah.
You get to play outside the box a little bit. Get to
Mhm.
explore that I don't want to say that dark side, but some of that dark energy that
Totally.
maybe and bring that to life. And I don't see you. I'll be honest with you. I right now, like here, I don't see you in that, but it'll be interesting. Oh, okay. Okay. Well then maybe I do. But anything's possible. But I do like that. I think that's great to continue to expand yourself in that manner. But then I want to ask too, so if you were to have a superpower
Oh,
for one day, just
yeah.
one day, what superpower would you have or like to have? And what type of chaos or good would you like to do with
I think that's hard for one day.
it?
I think flying. Usually I would say teleportation,
Uh-huh.
but then, yeah, I think the ability to fly would be incredible. Just that feeling.
Mm,
Um, and to see things from a different
your perspective.
perspective,
Yeah.
even like places that you're familiar with, seeing that from above would be incredible. Um, Yeah, I don't know what mischief would I get up to. Maybe just like freaking my family out. Or yeah, that would be if you like say you go hiking with them and then you like fall off the cliff, but then you like save yourself or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
something
that's so
ridiculous
crazy. Yeah,
like
that's so
that.
I love it. Yeah, I look, Riley, it's been an amazing conversation. And time really flies. We're on the back end of today's conversation. You're super fun, super talented. Before we go, I'd like to allow you a couple of things. One, please, are there any projects that you have maybe coming up that you'd like to share or you can talk about? And two, take a moment to share your social media. I want our audience to get behind you and follow and support you and all the incredible work that you're doing.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you. Um, There's no projects at the moment that I can really talk about. But if you do want to follow along for when there is a project, my Instagram handle is just my name at Rryla. That's Rryla. Yes, there are two R's in my name. Don't ask me why, but there are. Um, and then, yeah, you can also check out my past work on IMDb. That's just Rryla McIntosh. And yeah, I hope that you like some of the work I do.
Trust me, I'm sure they will. You're one of the sweetest, most humblest people that I've had the pleasure to get to know. But for those of you who have not seen her work, really go out and see her work. Rryla is amazingly stunning. She really not only to the eye, but her acting, she brings her characters so visually, is so visual to life. And we're really impressed by her work here. We are huge fans. Rryla, anytime you want to come back to Two Mics Up, any new projects or anything you'd like to share, you are now part of the family. You are always welcome to come back and share anything you'd like anytime in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. This has been so lovely and so fun.
Well, thank you so much. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Season 8 of Two Mics Up. We are continuing to roll along. You know, I cannot tell you how much fun I have each and every week when I get to sit down with such amazing people like Rryla, get to know them from a different perspective. And I hope you all are enjoying it as well. Listen, we are now on my all new Infusion TV channel. We are part of the Mogul TV Global Network, the number one network for positive programming. We are now in 47 countries. We are now have access to 100 million subscribers on our Roku TV or Amazon Fire TV design. Can you tell that I'm having a hard time, ladies and gentlemen? Jesus. But you know what I mean. You've heard this all before. But look,
Yeah.
like we do at the end of each and every show, I'm going to leave you all with three things. May you all stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.
007.